is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
Yeah.
Is that starting the show?
Yeah.
I thought you were playing with the soundboard.
Oh. Well, if I did, it would be
boring.
I think it's
Brilliant.
Yeah, me too. Although some people think it's sloppy.
Why'd you do that?
Because you don't ever remember. Like, I can't signal you.
You know what, man?
Ew, fuck you. You know what I need? I need a pad of paper so I can just hold up like sloppy.
Sloppy.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's our show.
Yeah, this is
That's
a
our show, everybody.
You know what the show is Jake plays with the soundboard. That's what that is.
Jake
you
plays
know
with the
what I mean?
soundboard and
I'm
Tyler
all-
reacts.
And I'm all like,
Woo yeah, woo yeah.
And I'm all like,
Pew pew quip, pew pew quip.
anyway.
and all I really want to do is I want to
Oh,
I want to
know.
be
You
I
wanna-
want to be
Hold on. You want to be.
I want to be
having sex with him.
Nice.
finally.
Anyway, this is episode 117. Number 117.
we suck? Okay.
Off panel.
117.
I'm Jake,
Tyler.
by the way. That's
I'm Tyler.
You say it before I can say it.
I'm Jake.
It's always I'm Jake, he's Tyler, or I'm Jake, that's Tyler.
You want to start over?
No.
Okay.
We live with our choices.
We live with our choices.
You know what? I started it. I'm gonna
Finish it. Finish it.
We live with our choices. We live with our voices.
Wow, that's good. We've
Thanks.
been writing songs, man. I don't know if you heard that, but my dog is being a little turd.
He's excitable.
Some would say being a little douche. No, I'm kidding.
Why
He's
you
just
gotta
being
be-
a dog.
We're not going to sing it on the air. It's a secret song.
Secret song until it's ready to be released. Episode
wanna be stealing
117.
it.
We got some things to talk about. Now,
Did we talk about the strike being over?
we talked about it when it was pretty much a done deal, but the writer's strike's over. SAG-AFTRA's still on strike. So actors still can't promote shows.
Right, but that'll
and
go away
movies.
soon. I mean,
You'd have to think that they're going to be close to a deal. And I
fucking studios.
yeah. Well, you know what's crazy about that all of that is like they swore for 5 months they could never meet any of those demands, and the writers got everything. Because what we said during the strike, you will not win.
Yeah.
The studios will not win.
Dude, do you remember I around the same time the UPS strike was going on, and my neighbor works for UPS. And I told you how right before they were about to go on strike, they were talking the whole time, we can't give you this, we can't give you this, we don't have it, we don't have it.
Then they did a work stoppage.
And then the day before they were supposed to strike, they were like, here's everything you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
They're
had it the whole time,
they're
you
just trying to
fucking
hold out.
shitheads.
They're
Yeah,
just trying to
why?
hold it
Why? What? You're eventually going to pay it. You make yourself look like a shitty corporation to the rest of us.
The new content's going to dry up. Look, we have plenty of content that we could be watching. Like that's never been, and they just don't understand that we have so much. There's so much access to entertainment at your fingertips. Like we were talking, I just bought a new TV recently, and it immediately, like, as soon as you boot up that TV, it's like an old cable TV guide, but it has all the streaming services. You can have it all directly on your TV. You don't.
Oh yeah.
And
I don't even use my Blu-ray anymore. Why? If I want to see a movie, even if I have it, I can find it.
I'm also in a weird spot where I'm kind of leaning towards getting back into physical media, just because
I would.
because this is the one
My
bullshit.
Blu-ray is such a bitchy little thing, though.
This is the one bullshit excuse they're going to use. They're going to
no disc detected.
They're going to raise streaming prices
Oh yeah,
because
yeah. Of course they are.
now they're going to have to say, well, we got to pay our writers more, so we're going to have to raise our
Dude,
prices.
a big bag of potato chips right now, like Doritos, is like $7 at the fucking grocery
but I'm
store
saying,
right now.
if you can sit through the
$7.
if you can sit through the annoying ads,
Mm.
you can have an unbelievable amount of hours and thousands of hours of content.
There's a separate kind of hub on Amazon called Freevee.
Yeah.
And they actually have some original content on there, and that's
With
actually
ads.
where the jury duty came on.
Yeah, great show.
Right. That's
Fantastic.
Freevee.
Yeah.
And you can watch so much stuff. Like I watched Night Court, and it's ads. But, dude, you don't even notice them. I mean, it's just like you used to watch TV.
This is going to be the death knell for cable because now it's easier than ever. Where it's designed as like now old people, you can literally it's programmed into your TV. You have one remote. You have all these streaming services, all this.
You can go to live TV if you want to use your antenna.
Pluto and whatever, yeah. So that's the thing is,
well, you know,
we're living, and they're going to have to struggle with that, and they're going to have to understand that I think content is the king, and content will always be king, right? Yeah. And I think that's
humans create it.
And it's gonna force better shows. It's gonna force better writing because you're gonna have to convince people to pay for because it's getting ridiculous prices.
I won't pay for Netflix for a couple reasons. One, they jack up their fucking prices every year for no reason.
Honestly,
and two, they cancel every show as soon as it gets popular, so they don't have to pay the creators any sort of bonus or anything. So they don't have to give them raises. So fuck you, Netflix. Where the fuck do you get off?
It's just like the box office right now. You're seeing more people be selective. People are going to be...
You know what I would like? If I don't know how you would do this equation, but say all content stopped being created today. And we're talking movies and television shows and documentaries, okay? Somebody calculate all that stuff. How long would it take us? How long would it take somebody constantly watching content with breaks for sleeping? How long would it take them to get through everything that's already been made before they got to any new stuff?
They actually did a Futurama, like the new episodes. They did the first episode was like on that concept where Fry locked himself into this chamber that is like a mummy's chamber pretty much, and he's just beaming it directly to his face, just binge watching the like thousands and thousands of episodes.
Yeah.
Eventually he catches up, and this is like ridiculous number of episodes. Like it said like 11,000 episodes.
Yeah.
And they had to start producing new episodes in real time to keep up with him because he was just binge watching it so much. You know what I mean?
That's funny as shit.
Which is such a it came out during the strikes, and obviously it was written and animated way before the strikes, but it's just funny how it came out around that time because it is that of like
I'm thinking I need to get Hulu again.
Like you're never going to keep up with the pace of human beings and how I know I have things where I read. There's comic books that I get really into and I read for a while and I just stop. There's TV there's YouTube channels I watch like religiously that I just stop at times at periods at a time. You know, people take breaks in between.
We were just talking about Hot Fuzz and I just sucked down the last of my shake. And I was worried about brain freeze. And there's that part where they're sitting in the car where he's eating his ice cream cone and he has that look on his face because he remembers something. And he goes, "What's the matter? You got brain freeze?" And he's like, "No, to the station." And he takes a big bite of his own ice cream cone and
Anyway.
So fucking brilliant.
You derailed the show, Tyler.
Shut up. Whoa. Hey, let's get this out of the way.
Why
I want to eat
this
these
now. I told you we didn't have
We
time.
should always do this beforehand.
We have one news story, and then we're getting into Review Mania because we got 3 shows to review.
That's fine.
All right?
Nice.
All right, you ready? You just want to play your fucking song.
Yep. Well, last week you were talking about how crazy.
What's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey, what's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey, what's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey,
So we got
Sorry, I probably blasted that.
Reese's Big Cup with Reese's Puffs cereal inside. You know how Reese's Pieces has been going nuts about. You know, pretty soon
Here's some chips.
Pretty soon you're gonna see a Reese's with condoms in it.
Well, it already has nuts.
Hey, you know what? We got a Reese's with staples in it.
Oh,
You
too
fucking
low.
dipshit.
I forgot to turn
Wow.
the bed off. I'm sorry.
Wow, I just called you a dipshit. I'm sorry.
Anyway, that's you.
Here's a Reese's with Hep C. Anyway,
Whoa.
wow.
oh, fuck you.
Bad product choice, brother. Okay,
Reese's, PC. No, it's Reese's. If you say Reese's, you're off. Don't listen to our show.
get the hell
Get
out.
out.
Get out of my house. So Reese's Pieces with Big Cup Reese's Puffs. With Reese's Big Cup with Reese's Puffs. Here's yours. Now, I don't know if you noticed the top of these, But clearly they had to do some alchemy to get the damn puffs in there. Because have you ever seen, like, before you eat it, hold up.
I'm not going to put it in my mouth. Anyway, that's a drop.
You ever see, yeah. Have you ever seen, like, movies where, like, a dude is heating up a block of solid metal or solid, whatever,
Yeah.
And it looks like this? It kind of looks like that, the effect that they make. It kind of looks like something inside the cup is trying to get out.
There's got to be footage of this somewhere, of this being made, because it looks like some guy just fucking took like a thumb full of Reese's Puffs and just jammed it in there.
And then smothered it over.
Just a little butter knife.
That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like that hole you put in your parents' house basement when you were pissed and you punched a hole through the drywall, and then you tried to fix it yourself and it looked like that.
You said basement and hole, and I thought it was something else.
No, when I was a
Anyway,
kid, I punched the wall and I put a hole in my parents'. Yeah.
You didn't fuck your couch.
No, I was not Tech Night. More on that later.
Our demographic is mostly ASMR.
Oh, yeah. Is that why we're getting so many more subscribers? You gotta check these dudes out. They're not ASMR, but they get me so hard.
They're so good at mouth fucking.
When they eat something, I just want to eat it out of their mouths.
You know what? Unequivocally.
I'll eat your ass.
Big
Well,
fan.
it's a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, so I'm going to give it the middle, which is nice.
No, man. You're wrong.
Nice.
The reason why I'm going to give it that is because it's nothing different than any other Reese's Peanut Butter Cup I've ever had.
I'm going to knock you out.
It isn't. I don't even see the damn puffs. I ate it like...
unnecessarily violent.
I mean, I'm just saying, I want to be able to see the damn puffs. And I can't.
I don't know, man. That was delicious.
That's the only... Yeah, it's a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. It's a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. Great.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Oh, just okay, man. That was like...
Crack cocaine.
I could eat like 3 of those.
Or the rest of mine.
Oh, really?
You don't want to have anything that's been in my mouth.
Oh!
No follow-up. Whoa!
The pregnant pod.
What's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Tastes like.
Hey, what's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey, what's in my mouth? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I said, hey.
So,
We got news.
we got news.
We got news for
you.
It's awesome that the strike ended for writers, and now they're back to work, and now we can start talking about shit.
Finally.
We got news, and we got like a bunch of shows. A lot to talk about.
I can't wait to talk about Ahsoka. I can't wait to talk about all of them.
No, you can't. But let's do just that. Let's wait. So there's a big Vanity Fair article that just came out. And we're recording this on Tuesday, October 10th. When this came out about... Problem is, I added this topic last minute, and I don't have... I think next week...
Is that why it sucks?
Wow. But I think next week we should dedicate more time to this Vanity Fair. No, is it Variety or Vanity Fair?
Vanity Fair.
Variety.
Oh. Wow.
This Variety article, because it's mostly focused on Amber Heard and turmoil about her fighting with Jason Momoa, feeling like he was trying to get her fired. There was people accusing Momoa of being drunk on the set. Like, there's a bunch of controversy, and I want to cover that, and I want to give it the time it deserves. But there's another thing that came out of that article. This is directly from the Variety article, and it also has an impact on the DCEU and James Gunn's DCEU.
Yes.
So none of the stars, this is directly verbatim, none of the stars, the stars cast by Zack Snyder for the 2016 Batman v Superman and 2017's Justice League, including Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, Ezra Miller, and Jason Momoa. None of them will be returning. They're done playing those characters.
Okay.
Excuse me, that Reese's is messing with my tummy. My Reese's.
Oh!
Momoa still seems like he's going to be attached, but possibly becoming Lobo in either the 2025 reboot Superman Legacy or in a standalone movie. It's also confusing because we also have confirmation that 3 characters will be returning to the DCU, that is Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, John Cena as Peacemaker, and Blue Beetle. I can't think of I don't have the actor's name in front of me, but
Xochitl something. His name starts with an X.
He'll be returning too.
Yeah.
So
he was in Cobra Kai.
And what's frustrating is
I was thinking of the girl who played Miss Marvel or Miss America in the. Never mind.
I think that James Gunn is kind of getting the short end of the stick in some of the situations here because this feels like more and more that the announcement that he wanted to do was supposed to be after Aquaman. I think he got they put him in a tough spot because Flash was a way to kind of set up and establish a way to explain how his universe exists. But then you also have Aquaman that's still attached to that as well. You have Blue Beetle that's still attached to that. So then there's a confusion
it's
of
just
like
a giant mess, really.
It's a confusion of what you think is important, what exists, what doesn't. And I think he's going to use Blue Beetle being the newest character and use that as like we can actually take this character and use it in that whole storyline with Jaime and everything. And like he said in his announcement, Shazam is so far removed from everything else, they could still keep Shazam going.
Right.
It's just I feel like he was put in a rough spot because none of those movies mean anything. And I was like, there were some people that were like complaining about it when Shazam 2 was coming out, when after all that stuff with Black Adam and then Shazam 2, people were like, this movie's meaningless and this movie doesn't matter. And I wanted to agree with them, but it's kind of true because Shazam and like what's the point of seeing this Aquaman movie?
Yeah.
This information tanks that fucking movie. Because you are absolutely assuring us that this movie... and look at fucking James Wan, the situation that he got stuck with. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. It's just, I mean, we talk about this all the time, about how we are conditioned with these movies to be looking for what's moving the broader story forward. And I have admitted very, very many, a lot of times that I... am watching these movies sometimes with the wrong mindset. I'm watching, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to see mutants or to see, how it furthers the broader MCU storyline along, right?
Yeah.
And we've talked about how that's not a great way to watch these because you forget about what's actually in the fucking movie.
Well, it's because
which is all of these people came together to make a movie, to make Aquaman. What is it? The Lost Kingdom.
Yeah.
All these people came together to make this movie. One of my favorite actors, producers, singers, Patrick Wilson is in it. I love him. But all these, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, all these people came together to make this movie. And to say that it means nothing, even though we know it does.
But they tried to explain that away with the Flash, right? The Flash is trying to say that all of this continuity exists.
And that's
just
fair.
like what Marvel is trying to do. And so that's fine. But at the same time...
But it sucks that there's so many people out there who are saying, like...
We've been conditioned for 12 years now...
More than that,
to view these movies not as movies, as TV shows. They're TV shows. They're 2-hour-long seasons of a show.
Yes.
Because it's all tied to an era.
And then we're looking for what's next. What's bringing the larger story forward.
So the movies struggle because then they try to rush a universe and they make Zack Snyder the fucking driver of it, and it was a terrible decision.
Well, no, because when he at the time,
that's not fair. He was doing his version, and it didn't work. Like
at the time, Christopher Nolan was highly was attached in a very high position with the DCEU
They
as well.
wanted him to do Superman,
They wanted him to be the Feige of the universe.
but he ended up producing.
and then
Man of
that's
Steel.
when Jeff Johns came on and then fucked that whole thing up. Jesus.
But it's just
After Schneider left.
I
Snyder.
think, but I also want to say there's positive to this because I think James Gunn deserves a chance to start fresh. And you can say it's not 100% fresh. That's fine. He's taking his toys and putting it in his new toy box. And if you're mad about that, fuck off. It's not his fault. He made the most interesting and fun and best parts of that universe.
And it's not his fault that Warner Brothers doesn't know how to fucking protect their goddamn IP.
And here's the thing. Yeah, they've been fucking up this for years.
Right?
But anyway, what I also wanted to say, that's not taking away from the other movies in that universe. I'm not saying all of them are bad. There are movies that I like in the DCEU. But I think it's better off to accept the fact that like what he was able to do with just Peacemaker, a nothing character, how he was make that character to tie into the DC universe and make it make sense was enough to make me go, yeah, I fucking trust this guy. He understands DC.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes, he's going to make changes that are different. You could argue there are some drastic changes with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
and you could argue
the comic book, you know what? It's not my fault. I enjoy it more.
You
It's
could
not
argue-
my fault. Everybody likes it.
Well, you could also argue that with the cameos in the last episode of Peacemaker, that kind of fucks his whole thing.
But what has he been saying? And again, this is why I think they forced his hand early in fucking.
I'm
almost-
still here
almost-
for it. All of it.
Almost derailing these fucking movies on purpose to put him in a rough spot. But that's how confident he is in the people that he can get, because what has he been saying this whole entire time? Story is the most important part of this.
Yes.
He understands. They're doing something. Look, what Kevin Feige's run to Endgame, what made that so magical and perfect, was because he had a group of really good directors. And James Gunn understands that.
Yeah.
Saffron is gonna. Is it Saffron? I think.
Who?
His partner is gonna figure out the
Oh.
money. His partner's gonna figure out how to work with these studios, and he's free to do all the creative decisions and have all these different writers and directors. And I'm all for it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
here for it.
excited.
I'm here for it.
What sucks is I don't know how it's gonna tie to the video games. That's the one thing that makes me worry, because I prefer.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know what, man?
What video games? What do you mean?
Well, he's saying that everything's connected. So animation, live action,
Oh, for fuck's
video
sake.
games, it's all the same.
Okay.
It's the same actor doing the same character,
Oh my
which I
God.
kind of like, though.
Okay.
I kind of think that's interesting. Why are you bitching?
Because he's saying like already that he's gonna have video games and TV and what and
Because
cartoons.
it's Warner, dude. They have that already.
Yeah, I know that.
They
but-
have these gaming studios. They're gonna put out Suicide Squad at some point with Rocksteady.
Oh my
and
God, no.
Warner Brothers is gonna keep making these games.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because so is Marvel.
Sure.
And Marvel, but here's the thing. The Marvel games are really good because they're in their own continuity. They're in their own thing. They're on their own Earth or whatever. And, yeah, whatever. I'm excited. And I'm also glad, as much as it sucks for Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, and I feel for James Wan because I think he did a fun movie with that first one. And I think he's going to get the short end of the stick with this one. This just reeks of studio meddling, and I don't think he's happy with the studio, and that sucks. And
I'm excited to see what he comes up with, and I know.
I'm going to
he'll-
watch. I want to support it, but it's weird because you can't. You're like, I want to support it, but I hate what DC is doing, or what has happened to DC because of Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But I still think it's good news that we
Yeah.
finally have an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tyler.
Brilliant.
Tyler,
Yeah.
let's get to the reviews.
Let's do it.
Yes!
I told you.
Let's talk about Gen V again. So Tyler caught up to episode
And there's
4.
a new episode since we talked.
Well, quickly,
episode
what did you
4.
think of episode 2 and 3?
Well, I mean, I watched 2, 3, and 4 last night. I kept wanting to get around to it this weekend, and I just never did. I just was never in the mood, or never. When I want to watch something like this, I want to be doing nothing else. I want to be watching the movie. I don't want to have my phone anywhere near me because the propensity to look at something on your phone is just too big.
Check
Twitter. Right. So it's like I put my phone away. I might have a snack and maybe something to drink or whatever, but I'm generally sitting in front of my TV concentrating on the show because I want to get everything that it's supposed to be. And so last night I watched 2, 3, and 4, and I just am so I'm trying to think of like how episode 2 was. Episode 4 was basically Tech Night. Episode 3 was basically her going into the woods.
Yeah, because 2 and 3 you learn about.
2 was
Sam.
basically them like getting it was the aftermath kind of them getting their interviews and stuff, and she got the interview where Jordan asked her to say that she was there, but she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jordan's character? Because it's a non-binary character that.
So first things first, I didn't know this. But the actress who plays the female version, her name is London Thor.
Huh.
That's fucking badass.
It's a great name.
Right? She's from California. I was looking at the cast and crew and whatever. All the kids in this movie are pretty great actors.
Show.
Huh?
Keep saying movie.
Show. But they're really great actors. Everybody's really obviously good looking because it's Hollywood and whatnot. Again, I'm kind of disappointed Clancy Brown is gone. But I like how you said after the first episode about Patrick Schwarzenegger, and he's been in it a lot, which flashbacks and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah. Because I think he
I
did a
really
pretty
like
solid job, and I
Sam's
want to
character.
see more, you know?
I don't know the kid who plays Sam, but he's really good. And I liked TV's Jason Ritter because I love his dad, John.
Him and a puppet. We're like,
yeah, I love his dad, John, and I would love it if Jason kind of became that too, like that TV guy. But yeah, I think it was great. I think my favorite character is Emma. I really do. I think she's the most real out of like all of them, if that makes any sense. I can relate to her.
well, I think that whole story, like, it's so crazy because I'm trying to figure like what's my favorite, but I really like all the characters.
I do too,
because this is what I like about it too. Where I said it's less cynical than I even think it's less cynical than the show. Because I was asking, like, do we think it's more brutal or, violent-wise or anything like that? But I think this show is better in character work. Like, I think it's really interesting because it feels like in that world, but it feels so separate because they're not corrupted yet. Like, they're not fucking dickheads like the heroes that we know. Like, they haven't become the Seven yet, so they're not as fucking douchey,
So if you think about it like this, you got Kate and the kid whose polarity's his dad, Aaron or Andre, the kid who works with metal.
I think it's Andre.
So you got Kate, Andre, you got Marie Moreau.
Look this shit up.
Jordan.
Come on.
So there's 4 characters basically. And then you have Dean Shetty, and I think that's basically it.
It is Andre.
So you got basically 5 characters.
Well, and Jordan is 2 characters. Well, it's 1 character but 2 actors. Which isn't what?
And then you forget Emma and Sam are there too.
I'm just saying, technically it's fine. No,
but what you're saying,
you're right, it is
what you're saying to a degree is very, very true. And if we think about the dynamics of The Boys and we think about the dynamics of this show, The Boys follows about 3 or 4 different groups of people, all with multiple characters in those groups. And so it's hard to focus on the characterization as much. They do a great job of flashbacks and whatnot to explain things and surprise, like, oh, that's my dad, like with Billy Butcher or whatever. But this show has an advantage over that one, is that it's set basically in one place, basically, and it's basically got the same 5 or 6 people who we're concentrating on. So that gives this show the opportunity, and the writers and the producers the opportunity to really flesh out these characters more than they ever could on The Boys. And I like what you're saying too. Is obviously I think it was episode 4 or 3 or 4, but they were watching the news and they show the news about Homelander's son killing a protester. They showed like Homelander going like this, and it was right before they got to Tech Knight's thing. I think it was episode 4, but they were flipping through channels, whatever.
Yeah.
But they showed that, so we know that the timeline is around this.
It's in between 3 and 4.
Gotcha. Seasons 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay. And that makes sense to me. And it's just a great way. You know, when we were talking about the Green Lantern Corps, when Zack Snyder was trying to do all that stuff, right? Way
Zack
back
Snyder
in the
wasn't
day.
attached to it, but
Whatever.
But they've been trying to do the Lantern things for
Right. They were trying to do like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
auxiliary TV show, whatever, spin-off, whatever you want to call it. And I've been hearing about the Dune Sisterhood for, feels like decades. I don't care anymore. Oh, don't you just dump it all over my shit. Excuse me. But it's rare when a spin-off does well, or rather does something that the original is not doing, or fleshes out the original. One that I can another great example is Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Those two shows, you can watch them both without knowing about the other and be fine. But when you watch both of them in either order, you get so much more about the other one because you have that context. And,
and
a lot of times, like with the Dune Sisterhood, I don't think that would have done that for me with the Dune movies, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. This does with the boys. It gives me...
It enhances it.
Yes.
And that's the thing, you know, when this was coming out and they said that it does have implications. It's in between season 3 and 4, and it does have direct implications in season 4. And people are like, well, now it's becoming what it's parodying and being a satire about. I'm like, yeah, it is, but you can still be a satire on this thing while doing it. And like you said, if it's done meaningfully and it makes sense and story is important and story is what matters, then you can get away with making a spin-off show. And this is better than this is so much better than I expected. I had super low expectations for this show.
I had none.
I love The Boys. I think it's great.
Me too. But I was ready to jump in because I love the boys so much, and it's the same guys.
It's the same people.
I mean, why wouldn't I at least give it a shot?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. When I first started watching it, I watched the first episode, and I'm like, okay, this is, whatever. And, of course, I got sucked in right away.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I watched the first episode, so we can talk about it on the podcast. Wow. Just like Cooper
Focus.
with any sort of food. But having that or whatever...
Give me the damn Reese's cup, man. That's what I wanted. Did I distract you again? Gen V.
Having that,
Get your ass to
I was
mine.
going to have that, and then just not watch it again, and just be like, it's not for me, whatever. So yeah.
So they introduced Tech Knight in episode 4, which is an interesting character in the comics because he's kind of a sex pest, like he is in this show. It's even crazier in the comic. But also I love how this is kind of a parody of true crime. And those because he interviews every character and he breaks down their character and all this other stuff. But he gets exposed because he has an obsession with just fucking holes. Literally humping holes. And it just says a lot about the writing of this show, where you could be that ridiculous and perverse, but it's still funny and it still works in the context. Because they did
he does a really good job of being that character. The acting
but it works.
is,
It works
direction.
the tone. It still understands, because it's the same people.
Yeah.
They understand the tone of the series,
Mhm.
and they've built, because they were talking about Homelanders flying in the air, jerking off into the city.
Yeah.
And didn't they actually do it in one of the seasons?
I don't know.
They talked about doing it in the first season. But so my point is, the show, that whole ending works because it makes so much sense, and it fits that perverse, weird, twisted world. And
the whole show. Look, when we find out that the one dude actually uses pheromones to date rape girls, and she blows his fucking penis up, which Let's be honest. I'm surprised the right wingers haven't come out and been like, "That's woke." Like, listen, all I gotta say is this: if you're a dude and you have your whole thing is drugging women so that you can get laid,
a bad
your
person.
dick
You're
should
evil.
be exploded.
Yes.
And here's the thing: because I have a dick, right after that, and they're arguing in the hallway and stuff, I'm like, "Hey, that was pretty awful, man. Now his dick's gone." But then I was like, "Well, good," because I like. As a guy, like I was thinking about, ow, that would really hurt because now you don't have a dick. But also, I don't do that shit. So my dick would be okay. So I'm sorry, Rufus, that your dick got exploded, but you kind of deserved it. I'm surprised no Nerdrotic and those fuck faces haven't come out.
They don't cover this show. They won't cover this show.
Why?
Because it doesn't make them money. They make more money
because they're
bitching.
scared of
They
it.
make more money bitching about Ahsoka than they make about doing any of this.
What are
stuff.
they
But I don't
bitching about?
I don't fuck them. I don't
We'll
want to
get
talk.
to it.
Hey, I don't want to talk about them.
Hey,
We're not talking about
I
that.
told you not to eat that.
Eat what? Your ass?
Yeah.
My board wasn't on. Pretend that part didn't happen. Rewind. No, not comicsology.
No. Boo! Fuck you.
Yeah, it's you know what it really boils down to
Sloppy.
all around. Anyway, Gen V continues to impress me.
Yeah. How many episodes is it supposed to be?
I don't fucking know, Tyler. I think 8. Because I think that's
So we're about halfway through.
Because there's usually like 8 episodes of The Boys regularly, and they're all hour long. So I can.
I was. I will say one final thing. No, I was gonna say something about them killing that janitor, but it's like, look, if you're trying to look for any sort of like realism in this show, I mean,
I also
you know how we talk about suspension of disbelief?
yeah.
Okay. Now, everything else that's happening in this show, and I'm supposed to, and I can't suspend my disbelief that a random janitor got killed and they're okay with just killing random people to keep their secret.
Yeah.
Like a dude's dick got exploded by some chick's mind.
I also
And another dude blew himself up in the air.
I gotta respect the amount of male nudity in this series. Yeah. A lot more penis than I expected.
Well, it's about time. About time we see more dicks than boobs. Because, to be honest, the way Hollywood is there's a lot of actresses that back in like 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, that have said recently or after the fact that they felt like if they had not done nude scenes, their career, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's happened to a lot of actresses.
Lizzie Broadway, by the way, who plays Emma,
Mhm.
she is great in this show.
She's what?
She's great.
I told you she was my favorite character.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
I love the scene when she's eating and like getting bigger. Like it's just.
The special effects are great. I
you
can't
know what?
complain about them at all.
I will say.
I do think it was funny that Andre
complicated
left the
and kind
hole
of
in his
flirty and
dad's
weird,
statue's
but-
dick.
Jesus. That's where he hid the recordings. That was great.
Sorry, what now?
Well, the joke that this has got to be Freudian when he rips open the statue of his dad.
Yeah, Freddie.
Yeah, this got to be Freudian. But her relationship with Sam, I think, is interesting and a little flirty, and I like that they're bonding over being weird, especially after what we saw her experience in the first episode where she doesn't have the self-confidence and like this guy isn't like this relationship isn't necessarily sexual, but it is a little flirty, and it's like she's actually getting like positive male interaction where it isn't like, oh, you're the tiny girl, can you make my dick look gigantic? And again, would not expect that kind of growth in a show with like in the world of the boys, and that's what's so good about this show.
You ask any any human being, I don't want to say just women, but it probably happens more on that side of it, I would say. But you ask anybody if they've ever done anything that they normally wouldn't because they liked somebody and they were like, naked with them,
Yeah.
And because they liked them and this other person said like, I want to do this or I want you to do this. And they're like, that's weird, but I like you. So how could that be wrong? Whatever. You know what I mean? I've done that.
We soup kink shaming?
We've all.
Come on.
No. No, I'm saying that there are a lot of there are a lot of fucking scummy fucking people out there, and you have to be careful, because in the first episode alone, I have a hair on my. I had a dog hair on my microphone. In the first episode, she's with this guy because he's popular and she thinks he really likes her. And all he wants is for the little tiny girl, you know what I mean? The little super powered, wasp type girl to hang off his dick. Like he doesn't like her. He wants to use her. And the moment when she understands that, when he's like, I think it'd be really hot if you were hanging off my dick, you see her face go from joy and excitement to, oh, this again. And it's such a powerful moment to me because it's just, I don't know. I wish that people wouldn't take advantage of other people. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. This is an interesting show because you're more sympathetic because they're not egotistical. Well, some of them.
Well, young people when you're growing up. I mean, I remember when I was young and in my teens and early 20s, late and yeah, you're unsure of yourself, and there are people who are your age who just are more confident or whatever, but they get you to just do stuff that is against your instincts because you want to help this person out or you want to look cool to this person, whatever. To me, it led to me doing a lot of fucking drugs, and drinking a lot because I don't know, but I don't know.
So what's up with that blackout cut to Jordan? Real quick, Jordan. I never get to talk about it. You keep sidetracking me with other great conversation.
Sorry,
you're so good. I love you. What? I love you as a friend. Anyway. I love you. Well, that's different with Jordan and is it Marie?
Marie.
Yeah, Marie. They end up in bed together.
Well,
but real quick, Jordan's story. I think that's such an interesting dynamic of making that a non-binary character.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence at the fundraiser, or that the remembrance for Brink.
Think Brink.
Hashtag Think Brink. When they have Jordan transform into the male version.
Well, he's the male version the whole time until he turns into the female at the fireplace.
Yeah, and it's at that sad moment of like, clearly Jordan is more comfortable as presenting as a woman.
Yeah,
and it's such a thoughtful and well done storyline where you could argue that it's pandering, and some people will say that, or it's woke or something, whatever. I truly think like it's coming from a good place, and I think it's coming from a place of understanding of like and honestly,
it's a great way to
spend most of the time seeing Jordan as a female because that's how Jordan chooses to present themselves, and it is a little sad when the parents are only happy when Jordan is a male, and it's like I think it's a really thoughtful allegory.
It's a thoughtful way to talk about the experience of being a trans youth or a trans person in general. It's a very thoughtful way of saying like, well, clearly they were born as a male. And then Compound V gave them this power that allowed them to transform completely. I thought one of the most brilliant sequences was when she's getting fucked like by that dude.
Yeah.
And they're just going to town, Yeah. And I mean, I think we've all had moments where you're talking about something while you're fucking, whatever. But it's so real and visceral, right? And then like
those are my parents are
right, and it's like holy crap, I gotta like clean a lot of shit up.
Yeah.
Like not just get out of my house a room because you're a dude.
Stop fucking me.
But I also have to get all this like fucking girl shit into the drawers.
Yeah.
I mean it's a great way to kind of I don't know, I remember a couple of years ago, it must have been now, but Gamma Flight. Al Ewing wrote. It was like a miniseries about the people trying to find Hulk, and it was Titania, Absorbing Man, and the Wendigo creature. I think it was Rick Jones at the time, and then there was a trans character, and she was a doctor, and it was just a really well done way of talking about body morphology, things like that. There was a character on there who was like irradiate. I can't really explain it. Just if you have a chance, go check out the Gamma Flight limited series from a year or two back. It was a great and brilliant and kind and compassionate and really clever way of talking about what it might be like to be somebody who's trans and to have these feelings and to have these experiences. And if nothing else, it was a great comic book, and it also gave me a lot of appreciation for what people might go through, you know? I mean, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Nobody, David Cross did a bit a while back about he did this whole bit, and it's like nobody chooses to be gay. Like, okay,
Nobody
wait a
would
second.
choose this.
Right. And it's like nobody is like, oh my God, you guys, like I'm really, really, made fun of in school and everybody hates me and stuff. You know what? I'm going to come out of the closet. I'm going to pretend, I'm going to choose to be gay on top of all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has this, it's a great bit that he does. But it really says it's just a great, I love the show. I'm excited for more. And dude, again, anybody named London Thor, kick ass. That's cool.
What?
Wow. It's time to talk about Loki.
No.
Season 2, episode 1. I gotta say, out front, absolutely enjoyed this episode. Had a lot of fun.
It was quick paced, fun.
I think it continues to show that it is the best Disney Plus MCU project. I would say,
first one to receive a second season.
In my opinion, I think it's the best one. It's such a fun episode. It's such a fun show. I really enjoyed it, and I wish there was a second episode. I was hooked. I was interested.
Yeah, I would like to do like a 2 or 3 season, the Ke Kwan. Obviously, I grew up with him in movies and stuff, but he was
so damn
great.
good in this episode.
So good. His whole the way they explain it, like the whole
who's
roundabout.
on first fucking.
Oh my God,
dude!
Yeah,
The
brilliant.
whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, yes. It feels like what it was setting out to be in the first place, and that is like, okay, this is going to be how they figure out how to make all this Kang shit make sense.
Yeah.
And that is what this show is, and that's the thing. This show knows what it is. Because in that first season is it introducing you to the idea of A, the multiverse, and B,
variants.
All the variant idea, and then C, He Who Remains. We're not calling him Kang. We're not calling him
I still don't think they've called it
the Egyptian one. I'm not calling
Ramatut.
him Ramatut. We're not calling him fucking Iron Lad. We're not doing that.
The Iron
Yet. Victor Timely, Victor Timely's going to show up in this.
There's one, the Scarlet Centurion and Immortus is another one of his names or characterizations. Yeah, I still don't think they've used the word or the name Kang.
Quantumania was the only one.
Yeah, that's the only one. Loki, he is if you're taking it at face value, you should as a viewer understand that Kang in Quantumania is not He Who Remains in Loki. They are variants of the same character, but they're not the same.
And that's what I want to point out, where I think
and the acting by Jonathan Majors points that out too.
I want to make a point here.
Yeah.
I thought that it introduced Kang better than Quantumania does. However, I agree with what you said earlier. that is a lesser Kang.
Yeah.
And when you start to view it that way, I think you'll tend to enjoy the movie more. Because while that movie is building him up to be serious as this threat, all it's doing is planting the seeds for what is to come.
Yeah.
Like, he gets beaten by ants. Like, so that's not the same as He Who Remains, and that's also not the same as who Loki is afraid of.
I'd wager to say He Who Remains is actually more powerful, much more powerful than the Kang.
He's the one who held it all together, and he says, "You kill me, you let him free." And and that's what I think was so interesting with how Loki approaches him, because there's fear. He's introduced in a that's the only
the entire first season is trying to get to him.
But that's the common theme, right? That's the only common theme amongst these variants. There is a threatening presence about them. Where like
they still don't know.
They might not be the strongest version, but every version he's smart. Every version he, you know what I mean?
They still don't know that Sylvie killed him. For sure.
Nobody knows.
They don't know
she
that.
kicked him out the door. Or kicked Loki out of the door
before she did. So they don't. They know they see the consequences of it. They can probably maybe assume that she did because that's what he said would happen, and Loki is there to watch it. Yeah, what a brilliant show. And what's her name? X-15. She was in that We Own This City
She's also
limited
in
series.
Lovecraft Country.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like her a lot. She's a great actress. Yeah, I just thought it was a good. It was what was it, Judge Gamble and General Drix or something? The two people they were talking to try to convince them not to go.
Yeah, the whole episode was great.
I thought so.
What I really thought was interesting. Did you notice this? The temporal loom.
Huh?
The temporal loom, like the thing.
What about it?
The hook that they used to pull Loki with the time skipping or time slipping, which again I thought was done well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like especially with the whole describing where the temporal loom is. Like, I don't know where that is. I don't have one of those. He goes, but you will though, because I'm from the future. And he said something like to that effect. He's like, well, you haven't had that conversation yet.
Right.
You're having it right now.
Yeah, and then they skip back to anyway. But what now?
But the temporal loom is the same device that Kang uses in Quantum Mania to try and get out of the quantum realm. It's what Owen Wilson uses, Mobius uses to pull Loki into their timeline.
Right, yeah.
It's the same device. And
you're talking about the oral...
The thing he used for a ship.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But the temporal loom is all the timelines being, weaved together.
Sorry, but the thing that they use
it's
is the same
oral,
thing.
timeline oral discapacity, something. I know exactly what you're talking.
Silly,
Yeah, it's the
name.
thing that he hooks up to the
ship
at the end.
In
Yeah.
Quantum Mania. I'm like, there we go. Now we're starting to get some connectivity, because you know how Phase 4 felt so disjointed. Now we're starting to see, okay, Loki is doing what it set out to do. It's patching this together and building up this thing of this is all going to be connected again. And I think it's smart to do. You could argue what they could have done next with their big bad, but I think having it be Secret War, having it being the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a smart move, because now you're just showing how you could do a presence with an overlooming threat, but have different versions, and you can tell. It's an interesting time.
Can I also
and
say
what's so funny? A few months ago, I was down on this shit and I didn't want to watch it anymore, and then it just took a good episode of Loki to be like, "Oh, all right, I'm back in."
They're always talking about real consequences, and one thing that the MCU has really done a shitty job of, for the most part, is killing off their really compelling villains. But there are also people who talk about real consequences for these characters. If these characters always survive, or if they come back from the dead, then there's no real consequence.
It's watching these movies as TV.
Hey, motherfuckers.
It's watching these
That's
movies as TV.
exactly what happens in the comic books.
Yes.
So you know what? I don't need to see a Kang Dynasty or a Secret Wars where anybody dies for good, unless they're rebooting that character.
Come back all the time.
Unless they're rebooting that character. Other than that, I don't need to see okay, I think it's good that Iron Man was the only one who died, besides Black Widow.
And then
in
Steve just got
Endgame.
old.
I think those are okay decisions,
that's
right?
fine.
I'm glad that like a lot of them didn't get killed.
It's okay
you know?
that like Clint
Because
gets-
everybody was expecting like a whole slaughter.
I'm okay with Clint living with his family.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to die.
He's retired.
He redeemed himself.
Yeah,
He was
it's
in a
good.
really dark place.
Thor is. We can stop seeing Thor now.
I liked Love and Thunder, and I'll defend it. I don't care.
Well, next week on
off
whatever that
panel, off
segment is
topic, we
called.
fucking fight.
We fade about movies that we don't like. Oh wait, that no one likes.
All right, let's wrap up the Review Mania with Ahsoka series review here. We did the first 5 episodes. I'm all caught up now. We can review the last 3.
So the first thing I want to talk about before we
I really
actually
like
get
this
into those
show.
3 episodes, I'm glad
I
you
wanna be
do.
clear.
I'm glad that you feel like I do. That is the best Star Wars movie or Star Wars show, I think, except for maybe Andor or Mandalorian season 1. It is the closest to the feeling I get when I watch a Star Wars movie. One of the first.
Yeah, it feels like
6.
old school Star Wars.
It does. And I don't know if we talked about it on the air, but we have on off the air a lot. Off panel, off air.
Whoa!
But
What does it sound like?
Oh.
That was another episode of Off Panel, Off Air.
nice.
Man, I bet you
Whoops.
thought your car was messed up.
Right? You're like, son of a bitch, my
Oop.
Bluetooth is off.
And then you crashed. Damn it!
I have a Bluetooth. So, no.
What?
But one of the things that I really like about this show is we
You know what I like?
we didn't watch Rebels,
pew,
we didn't
quip,
watch
pew,
Clone
pew,
Wars.
quip.
You just go right over it.
Of course, because you're just trying to fuck with me. We didn't. Neither one of us watched Clone Wars or Rebels or any of that stuff. But I'm aware of the characters from Legos. Okay, basically.
Fucking nerd.
That's
I
how I
need-
know them at all. That's how I know Kane and Jarrus. The first it's the Phantom and the Ghost is their ships. Hera Syndulla in the cartoon, and the first Thrawn minifigure came with a Kane and Jarrus who's blind, and an Ezra Bridger, and a Thrawn, and then a Chopper. No Ezra, and then Chopper. And so I was like, I don't know who this Kane and Jarrus dude is, but you goddamn know I'm going to get a Thrawn minifigure, motherfucker. And that's the only way. I didn't even really know who they were, or I kind of, sort of, maybe might have Wikipedia'd it or Wikipedia'd it just to find out, like,
Good
who
old
they are.
Wikipedia.
Well, just to find out, like, what's
Yeah.
going on with these people, because I have a lot of minifigures of them. And this show, I don't know about you, but I can watch that end sequence with that slowly building. It's hopeful and yet tragic music at the same time. That whole sequence of like the circuitous route that everybody takes to that one place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Did you ever watch the end credits just straight through? Dun, 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 dun. It's fucking brilliant. No, I'm serious.
No, the scores is really good on this
It's
show.
really good, and like when she first sees Ezra, I don't know these characters. This is the first time anybody who's a fan of that show has seen them in live action, and I guarantee you that they were freaking out and like, oh my god, this is awesome. And what I got from it was, wow, these characters love each other.
Yeah.
And it's palpable and it's visceral, and I can see it, and the direction and the writing and the characters and the acting all brought it home to me. I may not ever watch Clone Wars or Rebels, but I have more of a desire to than I ever have in my life.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see those stories that brought them together. And I'm kind of pissed that the big purple guy hasn't shown up yet. He's been mentioned. There's a big
He shows
purple
up-
alien
are
dude,
you talking
Zeb.
about? Yeah, you're talking about. He was the dude at the bar in The Mandalorian. It's season 3.
Yeah,
When
but
he's-
he
when
needs to show up again.
No, yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Done dirty.
I will say this. I think I enjoyed it as well. It did feel like classic Star Wars to me. I thought it did a really good job of making me understand characters that I had not known before because I'm like you. I didn't watch.
I knew more about Ahsoka than anything, just from she was in the original Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The Genndy Tartakovsky, I think.
But I could also appreciate like callbacks to that, like seeing Anakin. We talked about it when we reviewed the earlier episode. Seeing Anakin in that armor was awesome. I just feel like this could have been a movie.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, but again, it's weird because I do appreciate taking their time to explain this stuff to me and convey that why I should care about these characters. But it really feels like the second half of the season is just like a movie. And that's fine. I enjoyed it. Like the third act, dude, and I love that Filoni has worked with George Lucas for so long and understands this world so well that he took someone who doesn't know anything about the fucking witches and make me understand that, like, oh, they're dealing with some dark magic in the Force. You know why? Because I've already accepted that people have telekinesis in this world. I've already accepted the Force.
They're basically
So
the
why wouldn't
precursor
magic?
to the Sith, is the Night Sisters of Dathomir.
Yeah.
And Darth Maul and his brothers, Savage, are the male versions of Dathomirians.
Yeah.
That's what the females look like that, and the males look like Darth Maul.
With the horns and
Yeah.
And
I think I might get my nerd card pulled for that.
when
Pretty sure though.
when what's her name?
Savage Opress is Darth Maul's brother from the fucking Clone Wars.
Wow, what a
He's
name.
basically a Darth Maul who's yellow.
Who was the woman
and
that
black.
that hired Balin in the show?
Morgan Elsbeth.
I'm gonna pull that up.
Morgan Elsbeth. The one who brought them there?
Or her name. Yeah, her character's name.
Morgan Elsbeth is the one who was Thrawn's person. Are you talking about Shin Hati?
Yeah, Shin.
Balin's?
Shin.
Yeah, Shin Hati.
No. The witch. She becomes a witch.
Morgan Elsbeth.
That's not her name.
Yes, it is.
That is not a Star Wars name. Let me look it up. I don't believe you. What was it? Oh, you're right.
They said her name like a million times, butthole.
Anyway, no, like her turning into one of them was awesome. And then
I
like,
love that
dude,
sword.
Her fight scene with Ahsoka was fun. And how many times have we seen something other than a lightsaber, and a dark saber have a fight like that? Like
That
that's
was pretty
also
cool.
introducing the idea of like, oh, swords, like this magic. Like he does such a good job.
Ahsoka only has one now.
He does such a good job of weaving in that like mystical thing into something that's again more science heavy.
Right now, again, I can't stress how pissed I am about the sequel trilogy.
Oh yeah, they fucking fumbled so hard.
Because right now, they're building what should have come after Return of the
This
Jedi.
would've been because that's where it is in the timeline. It's such a.
But they have to somehow bring it to this piece of shit trilogy that J.J. Abrams shat out in his fucking sleep.
And the third movie was an apology.
Oh, fuck off.
You know
Yeah,
what? If you don't
first
like
movie,
if you don't like The Last Jedi, fine.
the first movie was,
But
hey,
you know it's good.
We're still Star Wars. Look, we're doing Tatooine.
We're sorry about that movie that was different.
The second movie is, you know what? Fuck you, Star Wars fans. We're going to do our own thing and do some good stuff and different stuff because you need change. And then the third movie is, hey, we're sorry about that second one.
Kylo Ren.
Somebody else was in charge.
Kylo Ren literally tells you to kill the past in that movie.
He what?
Literally says, kill the past. And Ryan Johnson was just like, and dude, Kylo's character was so interesting in that second movie. And his dynamic with Rey was interesting. And it didn't feel like a romantic relationship.
No.
But it felt like those two people were at the same points in their life on different sides. Like, whatever. We're not talking about The Last Jedi. But
No, if you...
but
if
that's
you
what I
do
mean.
the
They
third
didn't even
one-
try and... you're right. It's what you said. They didn't even bother to try and make sense. They started a trilogy without a fucking plan.
Yes. And then they just did
And
it
then you
as...
and then you get Favreau and Filoni that understand this world, and do such an awesome job making this new creative shit.
You want to know if...
And then they fucking... You're right. They have to build to that.
Yes. Now, Favreau and Filoni have the fucking advantage in the respect that they don't give a fuck about what is said on the internet when they're creating. Abrams is fucking... he's a social media chump. He's got to be.
I love how
He's
much
gotta
you hate
just...
J.J. Abrams.
Well, dude, he fucked up Star Wars, dude. I'm sorry, but he did.
You know what it was?
The first one...
Sloppy.
The first one, is what it is, and the second one is brilliant because of the chances it takes for Star Wars, right? And it could have been so much better if they had continued that arc from the second one into the third one. But then they're like, nope, we gotta go. Fucking Star Wars fans are pissed. There's 10 of them. Yeah, but they're pissed. There's 10 of them. I know, but they're pissed. Hey, I got an idea. Yeah, you. Why don't we just not listen to those 10 fucking idiots who just don't understand Star Wars at all?
Brilliant!
Anyway.
No, we got to make the Rise of Skywalker.
Dude, can we talk about the Night Troopers?
Oh, dude.
I fucking love that.
We talked about off the air. I had to watch that sequence where he brings the Chimera down to that fucking temple, dude.
Thrawn,
That is such a fucking power move, dude. No. You don't come up to my ship.
I'll drop down.
I'll come down to you. Okay?
So I can leave whenever I want.
Right.
Which makes
Later.
me laugh. I was watching it with
But, dude, Enoch is fucking cool.
watching
I want an action figure.
I was watching it with my wife, and I was like...
Did you guys finally understand why I loved Thrawn so much when you saw that?
I think he's okay. No, I think he's a pretty solid villain, but I like it because it's different. I told you it felt like
you didn't
Tarkin,
know,
but we're
right.
getting off. I don't want to get off the original thought.
Sorry.
But when he leaves Balin and Shin, and Morgan's like shocked by it, I'm like, really? You're shocked that a fucking Grand Admiral was a dick in the Empire? People that are clearly okay with genociding a whole planet are going to be trustworthy people? You know what I mean? But I think they did a really good job of
why
introducing him to a mainstream audience.
Yes, but here's why I don't think you appreciate Thrawn as much as I do, because you... I'm serious. I'm surprised that up until a couple of weeks ago or whatever, or maybe you did and you're fucking with me, but I'm surprised you didn't know about the Empire's unspoken no aliens rule.
Yeah. I had not known about that.
And maybe that's because I read a lot of the books growing up or whatever, and they kind of
they
touched on
that stuff.
But I mean, technically, according to Disney, that's only legends and not whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's not canon.
No, but I believe it's been canon for a long time that the Empire began purging aliens from its ranks, like non-humans. So that right there. The fact that he is one of only, I believe, 14 or 12 Grand Admirals that ever existed in the Empire. And can I just say also that, hey, George, you really, really fucked yourself by making the end of the first trilogy only 18 years before the first Star Wars. You're trying to tell me that when I first saw Star Wars when I was a kid, I believed that Empire had been around for like at least 50 years or something, right?
Yeah.
Now, I do understand a couple things. That the way the timeline worked, that you had to have Padme die at the end of the third one, the end of the Clone Wars, and that Luke and Leia are about 18 when Star Wars starts. Okay, I get that. But it just still seems like piss poor planning somehow that you didn't... I'm serious.
Well,
that you didn't... give me like 30, 40 years of the fucking Empire or something. I mean, 18 years...
But isn't that what Clone Wars and Rebels and the Bad Batch is supposed to do? All this stuff is doing right now is
fleshing out that
trying
period?
to show time. Yeah, because...
I don't know. It still bugs me that
25
18
years from... Return of the Jedi to Force Awakens, I think, or something like that. 30 years, maybe. I don't know. That's the timeline, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's something like 20.
So yeah, all this shit, and that's what's so annoying about Star Wars is like.
You know why Star Trek's better than Star Wars? Yeah, I fucking said it.
Whoa!
You know why Star Trek's better than Star Wars?
Why?
They don't have sticks up their asses about their own IP. They don't have to fucking, everything has to be on a tightrope and on a timeline and pick-a-dick-a-pick-a-deer. Dude, Star Trek was cool with like multiple timelines like years ago. Years ago. And you know why their fans are happier? Because they know that their fucking franchise is in good hands. And you know what? Take some of the Star Wars shows, some of those that have come out, put those up against, well, actually, none of the Star Wars shows that I honestly have been terrible. I was going to say put them up against some of the Star Trek shows like, Brave New Worlds and stuff.
Anyway.
I'm just saying, like, look, Star Wars fans are way too fucking uptight about their fucking franchise.
Well, there were people. There were people on Twitter bitching about the Night Troopers. I'm like, dude, zombie fucking stormtroopers. That's scary as shit. That's awesome.
Why were they bitching?
I don't know.
Because they don't like cool things,
and they're acting like it hasn't existed before. Like people are like sharing. Because there's this book called Death Troopers that talks about it, and I kind of want to read it. I don't know, like. The zombie fucking stormtroopers I thought were really cool.
Here's the first thing.
I like it.
The Night Troopers are not just zombies. That was something that Morgan and the sisters did. Okay? They're not all like that. Let's make that clear. They did that at that moment to zombify those guys.
Yes. They were they were called Night Troopers originally. Yes.
Right. But one of the things that characterizes Thrawn is his ability to get to squeeze every last bit out of everybody under his command. And he is so good that if he said to anybody under his command, hey, the only way we win this is if you slit your throat for me right now. And they go, all right, without a thought. That's fucking scary, isn't it? That's scary that somebody can instill that kind of fanaticism. No, fanaticism. Yes. And that is why Thrawn is such a fucking compelling villain in Star Wars, because he is on the level of the Emperor and Vader when it comes to instilling. But again, he hated Vader. He thought Vader was a dick. He hated that Vader like killed off guys under his command all the time like it was nothing. He was like, you fucking dick. You're killing Empire resources. You're an ass.
It's not because they're killing people. It's because they're killing resources. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Thrawn had a way of looking at it like, dude, Vader was a dick and a dumbass. Fuck Vader, man. Oh, I'm gonna go kill all these generals that we really can use.
I love the look of the Night Troopers that have like this ancient look to them.
Yes.
They have like robes.
Well, they've been gone. They've been exiled. They have no materials to repair their armor. All that shit is to hold their armor.
This is after the Empire's collapsed.
Yeah,
and fucking Enoch.
When they got
Enoch's helmet is fucking rad.
Right, but when they got exiled in that galaxy, the war wasn't over yet.
Okay, so that's why
the Empire had, because you remember Ezra, she had to tell Ezra that the Empire had fallen, and about the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
When they were driving around, or whatever. But still, they've been exiled so long in a place where they don't have, like, they can't readily go to the, armory and get a new piece, because there is no armory.
Yeah, and
they don't have materials to make new.
That's a really good point.
But they're willing to do that because they're so fanatic about Thrawn.
That's
dude.
A really good point about him as a strategist too, because unlike Vader, he knew when to leave the situation, and he's like, I'm wasting enough men fighting here. I'm leaving. I got what I wanted. And she was trained by Anakin Skywalker, and I know who Anakin Skywalker is. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like I just love that. And it's almost like sometimes in storytelling we forget that like the villain should be cowardly. We forget that the villain should leave. And you know why? Because you want that villain around longer. It's basic pro wrestling heel and babyface. You want the heel to be a cowardly little dick who keeps ducking the babyface. So when Ahsoka finally gets Thrawn, you're fucking into it. And you're happy. You're like, finally she's going to make this dick pay. That's the point. And that's good storytelling, and I fucking love it. It's a good show. I had fun with it.
I was just a big fan.
I give it a big old sloppy.
I'll eat your ass.
What? I was gonna say this.
Yes!
All right. Let's wrap it up.
That made me feel good.
Did it?
Long.
I thought we weren't doing one. What time is it?
It's a long box.
No, how long have we been doing the show?
Hour 15.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I played the drop. I lied to him. Why am I talking like that?
Okay,
No, we can wrap it up.
Get my favorite drop ready. You know which one it is. This whole show made me feel like I was...
Oh, I didn't have it on.
Okay, wait. This whole show made me feel like I was...
Having sex with him.
Yeah.
No, we can do a long... I have a long box ready.
I mean,
I don't care.
it's up to you, man.
Hey, what do you think of the audience? Tweet us right now. We're
You know what?
waiting.
Let's save it for next week.
We're
How
waiting.
about that?
I don't understand why nobody's tweeting at us. I just said we have all these people.
Hey, Ahsoka's done.
We're not live.
We'll have we'll have one.
That's why.
We'll have only 2 shows to review next week. I say we hold off.
That's
and
fine.
Do it next week. What do you think?
But yeah, I guess in conclusion,
I'm glad we had this discussion on the air.
conclusion, I'm glad that Ahsoka got made. I wish that they had done a better job with Book of Boba Fett. Fucking
Let it go, man.
No.
You show that better Boba show. What's that?
Hey, do you remember our song? I gotta be a little douche. Okay. No, don't sing it.
They don't get it.
I don't want them to hear it
It's
and
a
steal
secret
it.
song.
It's a bona fide hit. And I did say boner fide.
Yeah.
Like Beavis and Butthead.
I used to watch that show.
Yeah. You still do.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's back on Paramount. But you watched the new one? I've heard good things.
We reviewed the Beavis and
I
Butthead.
watched
See,
the
we're
movie.
forcing it right now. We're not going to get a good ending out of this.
Fuck
what we're
you.
doing right now.
All right, fuck you.
See, and just saying fuck you is not going to get a good ending.
Come on.
No, you can't just take some shit and wrap it up into the thing and shove it up your ass, okay? See, that would have been a good ending. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.